Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. Okay, so today we're digging into a whole pile of sources. And they're all basically saying the same thing, something that honestly felt almost impossible for a while. K-pop. It's actually done it. It's broken through that top glass ceiling at the Grammy Awards.
Yeah, it's more than just breaking through, isn't it? It feels like a real moment of arrival. I mean, you look at the U.S. media coverage right now, and the consensus is pretty clear. K-pop isn't just a global phenomenon anymore. They're calling it mainstream pop, full stop. And it's all because of this development.
It really is huge. We're talking nominations in the general fields, you know, the big ones, the categories everyone talks about, the ones that kind of define the whole year in music. And specifically, there are two main nominees catching everyone's eye. First, Rosé, yeah, from Blackpink with her massive solo track Apartment. And then maybe the most interesting one, the OST from that Netflix animation, K-pop Demon Hunters, or Kirihyun, right, with the song Golden.
Exactly. So our mission today really is to unpack what this all means. We need to get clear on what exactly these general fields are. You know, why was K-pop kind of stuck outside this inner circle for like a decade? And then look at these two tracks, Apartment and Golden, and how their incredible success made these nominations, as Ford said, almost not surprising in the end.
Okay, let's start right there. The general fields. For anyone listening, maybe you're multitasking, maybe you've just heard the term thrown around. General fields, the big four. What are we actually talking about? Why was this the barrier K-pop just couldn't seem to get past before?
Right. So the general fields, or the big four, they're the top-tier awards that aren't tied to a specific genre. We're talking Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Album of the Year, and Best New Artist. Winning one of these basically means the Academy sees your work as defining the entire musical landscape for that year. Not just rock, not just pop, but everything. And K-pop's problem, historically, was sort of being siloed. It wasn't clear where it fit or maybe where the Academy wanted it to fit.
Right. And if you look back, I mean, publications like Forbes, they were pointing this out for years. K-pop was this global giant, culturally, economically, is huge. But at the Grammys, the narrative was always that it was historically overlooked, not properly represented. It felt less like a discussion about the music's quality and more about, well, does this genre belong here?
And that frustration really came to a head with BTS, didn't it? They were the undeniable pioneers pushing that door, nominated 3 years straight, 63rd, 64th, 65th ceremonies. But, and this is the crucial point, those nominations were always in Best Pop Duo Group Performance.
Always the pop category, which is exactly the distinction you just made.
Precisely. It's a genre award, so they were competing against other pop groups, great artists.
Yeah.
But it kept them in that box. It was like saying, okay, you're good at pop, but not necessarily in the running for the absolute best music of the year, period. And, you know, not winning any of those times. That definitely fueled a lot of criticism, pretty valid criticism, I'd say, that the Recording Academy was maybe alienating this massive global fan base.
Yeah, a lot of upset fans. And so what we're seeing now feels like a correction. Forbes even said, you know, the old reality, where it was basically just BTS trying to knock down that door.
Yeah.
That's no longer the case. And while these nominations feel historic, totally groundbreaking, the sources are kind of unanimous that given how insanely successful Apartment and Golden were, well, maybe not surprising is the right phrase after all.
It really suggests the sheer weight of that success became, well, impossible to ignore.
Yeah.
Like the Academy finally had to acknowledge these weren't niche hits anymore.
Absolutely. Okay, let's dig into those numbers, starting with Rosé. Apartment. She got 3 nominations total, huge ones. Song of the Year, Record of the Year, and also Best Pop Duo Group Performance. That's a massive statement right there.
And the first aspect is really key here. The BBC specifically called her the first K-pop idol nominated in the Big Four, the general fields. That's such a significant step, you know, proving K-pop artists can stand on their own globally, outside of their group identity.
Totally. And the chart performance, let's be clear, this isn't just about hype or fandom clicks. This is backed by serious, undeniable commercial success. Like, she was the first Korean female solo artist to hit #3 on the Billboard Hot 100.
No.
#3. But that's just the peak, right? The longevity is maybe even more impressive.
Oh, absolutely. That's the Record of the Year argument right there. Look at the Billboard Global 200 chart. Apartment stayed at #1 for 12 weeks straight. 12 weeks against everything else released globally. That's just dominance.
Yeah, but I think the stat that really tells the story, especially for K-pop's global reach, is the global XGLE US chart. Why is that one so critical in understanding this whole picture?
Well, because it strips away the, let's be honest, often US-centric bias of the main Hot 100 sometimes. It shows you purely how a song is performing across the rest of the world. And on that chart, Rosé was #1 for 19 consecutive weeks. 19. That's almost 5 months. Where outside the U.S., her song was the biggest thing globally. And you add that to the fact it spent 45 weeks total on the Hot 100.
Yeah.
It was still like number 43 the week before nomination.
In 45 weeks.
Yeah. That kind of staying power, that cultural saturation, that's undeniable.
Nearly a whole year on the biggest U.S. chart while ruling the world outside it. Yeah, when you see numbers like that, the Grammy nominations start to feel less like a surprise and more like, well, inevitable. And we should quickly mention, too, she'd already had that huge win at the MTV VMAs this year, right? Song of the Year winner there. And another first for a K-pop singer, plus Best Group with Blackpink. The momentum was just undeniable leading up to this.
Definitely. Okay, so now let's pivot. Because the other big nominee, I think, really hammers home that point the LA Times made about the Grammys maybe looking beyond just fandom towards artistic value. We had to talk about the K-pop Demon Hunters OST. That's on Golden.
Yeah, this one feels different, doesn't it? Like, it came out of left field for some people. It's from an animation, not one of the established big label idol groups with years of fan base building. If the Grammys were only about chasing existing fandoms, this probably wouldn't be here in the general fields.
Exactly my thinking. Golden feels like a nomination purely on the song's own merit, on impact. It pulled in, what, 5 nominations total? Including Song of the Year, that huge general field nod, plus Best Pop Duo Group Performance, and interestingly, Best Song Written for Visual Media. The fact that this track from an OST is competing for the defining song of the entire year, that tells you the perspective might be widening.
And again, the charts back it up. It wasn't just a critical darling. The sources called its performance overwhelming. #1 on the UK official chart for 8 weeks. That's huge in the UK. And then it did the same thing on the Billboard Hot 100 here in the US.
Simultaneously dominating the 2 biggest English language markets.
From an OST. Yeah, that sends a signal, for sure.
Absolutely. If you needed proof that maybe, just maybe, the Academy is starting to evaluate the song itself more than the hype machine around it, this OST nomination is probably Exhibit A. It kind of proves the door isn't just open for BTS or Blackpink members now. It's potentially open for K-pop content, regardless of the source, if it connects massively. Oh, and we should also mention Cat's Eye. They got nods too, right? Best New Artist and Best Pop Duo Group.
Right. Good point.
So it really shows the field is broadening. It's not just 1 or 2 acts carrying the banner anymore.
Okay. So we've got all this data, these broken records, Rosé's solo breakthrough, the OST surprise, and K-pop crashing into the general fields after all this time. So the big question hangs there, right? What does this actually mean? Is this the industry, specifically the Recording Academy, finally appreciating K-pop's artistic value? Or is it just, well, they couldn't ignore the money and the global noise anymore?
That's the core question, isn't it? And honestly, it's probably a bit of both. The LA Times piece really leaned into the artistic value angle. They argued that these nominations suggest the judges are finally seeing K-pop as an important part of pop music, full stop. And crucially, moving away from seeing it as just this separate thing driven solely by fandom phenomenon.
But then you look at what Gold Derby was saying, and it sounds a bit more like making amends. They highlighted how the Academy basically had a reputation for not getting K-pop right before, how BTS fans were alienated by those repeated snubs in the big categories. So these nominations feel like this massive breakthrough, yes, but also maybe a way to say, okay, we hear you now, like millions of fans are celebrating, but is there a hint of a delayed apology in there?
I think you have to see it as interconnected. Is it a correction? Yes. Was ignoring music that tops global charts for 19 weeks becoming kind of absurd? Also, yes. Did the financial and cultural weight force their hand? Probably. But the result is that the music is now being judged, apparently, on its artistic merit within the mainstream context. The fact that general field voters, not just the pop committees, put these songs forward suggests K-pop isn't an outside genre anymore. It's now considered part of the main pop conversation they're supposed to be evaluating. The artistic value is proven, in a way, by the global success metrics they couldn't ignore.
Yeah, the LA Times kind of nailed the summary, didn't they? K-pop is finally being seen, no asterisks, as mainstream pop, not a niche, not a trend that might fade. It's just part of the standard now.
Exactly. It's moved past being just an imported phenomenon. It's now part of the fabric the Academy considers for its highest honors. That structural barrier, arguably, is now gone.
Wow. Okay, what a journey. So just to wrap up what we've covered in this deep dive, K-pop has smashed through into the Grammy general fields, a huge moment, led by Rosé's incredible solo run with Apartment First K-pop Idol in the Big Four, and backed up by the surprising massive success of the Kirihyun OST track Golden. And the consensus from international media seems clear. The Recording Academy is finally treating K-pop as, well, mainstream art.
And for anyone wanting to see how it all plays out, mark your calendars. The 68th Grammy Award ceremony is set for next year, February 1st, local time, out in L.A.
Okay, so as we finish up, here's something to maybe mull over. A final thought for you. We've seen this major shift, right? How a huge institution like the Recording Academy seems to be moving from seeing these massive global movements primarily as just fandom things to recognizing them more on artistic merit judged by global impact. So how might this precedent change things going forward? How will other non-Western music scenes, or maybe music scenes driven heavily by digital platforms and online communities, how will they be evaluated by major U.S. award shows now? If the music connects globally, if the numbers are undeniable, does where it comes from or how it got popular even matter anymore? Something to think about. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.